100 conversations. That number honestly doesn't even feel real when I say it out loud. It seems like a lot. 100 different humans sitting across from me over the last 15, 16 months. 100 different personalities, backgrounds, struggles, victories, mindsets, perspectives, philosophies, belief systems, successes, failures, and everything in between. And what's interesting is when I first started this podcast, I didn't have some grand vision. There was no master plan. This is going to be huge or nothing like that. It really just started from a place of curiosity and kind of loneliness, genuine curiosity. I've always been fascinated by people, not necessarily titles or status or resumes, but people. Maybe how they got the status, how they built the resume, and how they think, how they see the world, and how their perspective kind of guides who they are and the choices they've made. It's been crazy how two individuals can experience completely different realities while living in the same town, driving the same roads, dealing with the same economy, same opportunities in the same environment. But after sitting across from 100 guests, I can tell you something with absolute certainty. Human behavior is wildly predictable, not in a cynical way, in a revealing way, because patterns don't lie. In over 100 conversations, you start to see those patterns everywhere. You start to notice what actually separates people who move forward from people who stay stuck. You start to notice what truly drives success and what quietly fuels stagnation. And one of the biggest myths that gets completely destroyed when you sit down with enough people is the idea that success is some mysterious formula, that it's complicated, that it's reserved for certain personalities or certain backgrounds or certain levels of intelligence or just certain lucky individuals. And that's simply not true. In fact, one of the most consistent patterns I've seen across high performers, regardless of industry, regardless of background, regardless of where they started, is something much less glamorous. It's discipline. Not motivation, not passion, not talent, not money, but discipline. Because motivation is emotional, while discipline is structural. Motivation comes and goes, and while discipline doesn't care how you feel. And what's fascinating is how many people believe that they lack motivation when what they actually lack is systems that have discipline built in, structure, non-negotiables. High performers don't wake up every day fired up. That's a fantasy. But they wake up and execute no matter what, whether they feel like it or not. They tolerate boredom. They tolerate repetition. They tolerate monotony. They understand something most people can never really fully accept, is winning is not built on intensity. Winning is built on consistency, and consistency is painfully unsexy. It's quiet, it's repetitive, it's often invisible. And nobody applauds discipline while it's happening. But they always admire the result later. Now, on the flip side, when you listen carefully enough, you start to notice the patterns of stagnation also. And here's where it kind of gets uncomfortable, because most people don't fail dramatically. They don't crash and burn. They just kind of fade, like quietly and gradually, almost invisibly. And the most common theme that I've seen isn't lack of opportunity. It's not lack of intelligence, and it's not even lack of resources. It's something far, far more subtle. Self-deception. People are unbelievably skilled at explaining their lack of progress. And the explanations always sound logical. They always sound reasonable, and they always sound justified. But logic is often just a beautifully packaged excuse. I hear, I'm waiting on the right time, and then they'll explain what this time looks like, or I'm just need things to settle down, or I've got a lot going on right now, or I'm just trying to figure a few things out. I don't want to rush anything. All of this sounds intelligent. It sounds measured and even responsible, but in many cases, it's just fear wearing a tuxedo because waiting feels safe. There's no failure in waiting. Planning feels productive. Thinking feels like progress, but none of those things move the needle without action. And action is where most people stall, not because they can't act, but because action exposes you. Action risks embarrassment. Action risks failure. Action risks looking stupid. And most people are far more afraid of looking stupid than they are of staying stuck. It's a brutal truth, but it's real. Another major pattern that jumps out when you talk to enough people is the role of adversity. Adversity is one of the most misunderstood forces in human development. Some people are absolutely forged by hardship. Others are defined by it. There's a massive difference. Being forged by adversity means that you use it. Being defined by adversity means you wear it, you identify with it, you anchor your story to it, you build your entire narrative around what happened to you. What I've seen repeatedly is that the individuals who truly rise, who truly evolve, are not the ones with the easiest path. They're often the ones with friction, resistance, pressure. Because pressure is where you get your character truly revealed. Comfort rarely reveals your character. Comfort is one of the most dangerous states a human can exist in. Not because comfort is bad, but because comfort is addictive. Comfort just whispers and coddles you instead of screams. It doesn't destroy potential violently. It erodes it quietly. Comfort says, you've done enough. Comfort says, you deserve a break. You've earned this. You can start tomorrow. You're fine exactly where you're at. Well, sometimes, if you know like I know that tomorrow becomes next week, which becomes next year, which becomes a decade, and suddenly you're no longer dealing with lack of progress. You're now dealing with regret. Adversity forces growth. Comfort negotiates with it. And if there's one thing I've seen consistently, it's this. Comfort has ruined more potential than hardship ever could. Hardship hurts, but comfort sedates. Now, let's talk about ego for a minute. Ego is everywhere, and ego is kind of tricky. Ego doesn't necessarily always look like arrogance. Sometimes ego looks like defensiveness, fragility, excuse-making, rationalization, because ego's primary function is protection. Protection of identity, protection of self-image, and protection of the story we tell ourselves about who we are. Accountability is ego's natural enemy because accountability requires brutal honesty. It requires saying, this is on me. No qualifiers, no disclaimers, no external blame, just complete and total ownership. And ownership is a superpower. Not because ownership feels good, but because it removes friction. When everything is someone else's fault, you're essentially powerless. When everything is your responsibility, you're dangerous. Because responsibility creates leverage, and responsibility creates agency, and responsibility creates movement. And one of the most fascinating things about human psychology is how rare true self-awareness actually is. Most people believe they're self-aware, but awareness without adjustments is an illusion. If you can identify your patterns but continue repeating them, that's not awareness, that's familiarity. Growth requires disruption, discomfort, course correction. And course correction is where ego screams, because ego would rather preserve identity than pursue evolution. That's ego. Now let's step back and look at something else that's become impossible to ignore over 100 conversation, and this is the illusion of modern life. Social media, digital presence, curated realities. We are living in a time where perception has never been more manipulable. You can look wildly successful online while being completely unstable offline, or you can project confidence while drowning in insecurity. You can manufacture influence while lacking substance. And this isn't an attack on social media. It's just an observation that I'm sure we've all made, because tools are neutral. Humans are not. Social media amplifies both greatness as well as delusion. It rewards attention, not necessarily truth. It rewards engagement, but not depth. And the psychological impact of constantly comparing your raw, unfiltered reality to someone else's edited highlight reel is devastating for many people. Comparison destroys momentum, it breeds insecurity, it distorts perception, it convinces people that they're behind in a race that they never even needed to run. It's crazy, but it's true. Another thing that I've really involved in and I've been chasing and paying attention to is AI. The topic keeps coming up and it's going to keep coming up, and it's fascinating to watch human reactions to technological shifts. Some people see AI as opportunity, while others see it as a threat or a novelty. And what's interesting is that AI itself isn't the real story. It's human adaptation to it. Technology has always displaced certain tasks, certain roles, and certain skill sets. It's kind of the whole purpose of building technology. So that's not new. But what matters, as it always has, is adaptability. Leverage, curiosity. Those who learn to use tools tend to win. Those who resist tools tend to struggle. This is no different, but there's a deeper layer. AI doesn't eliminate the need for human value. It raises the bar for it. Because when automation handles repetition, humans must deliver differentiation, creativity, judgment, strategy, original thinking. And those people who thrive are rarely the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the most adaptability. Hey everybody, I want to take a quick second to let you know that the Beyond Business Studio swag store is officially open. Click the link in the description or scan this QR code to get your apparel game on point and rep Beyond Business. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, and everything else. Several logos to choose from. Scan and customize yours today. I also want to shout out the partners who help make Beyond Business possible. First up is Dubby Energy Drink. If you're grinding, creating, training, or just need clean energy without the crash, Dubby is my go-to. No sugar, no spikes, no nonsense. Just focus, endurance, and clarity. Head over to dubby.gg and use code BeyondBiz at checkout to get 10% off your order. That's BeyondBiz. Support the show and fuel the hustle at the same time. Oakwood Screen Printing. These gals are the real deal when it comes to custom apparel. Direct to film, silk screening, embroidering, heat transferring, you name it, they do it. And they don't just put it on clothing, they put it on anything. Whether you're in need of a small custom run or a massive order, Oakwood Screen Printing handles it all. Fast, professional, and top-tier quality. If you've got a brand, a business, a team, or an idea, they'll bring it to life. Check them out at oakwoodscreenprinting.com. And finally, Midwest Lightning Rods, protecting homes, businesses, and critical infrastructures from lightning strikes across the Midwest. This isn't just another contractor, this is decades of experience, code-compliant systems, and real protection where it matters most. When lightning strikes, preparation makes the difference. Learn about how you can become part of the community that's been protected by MLR at lightningstrikes-weprotect.com. As always, when you support these companies, you're supporting Beyond Business. If you haven't done it yet, I urge you to hit that subscribe button right below this post and follow the Beyond Business page on all your social media platforms that you follow. Now, let's dive back into it. Hey folks, I want to jump on here and just make something crystal clear for everyone. So I busted my ass over the last year or so to help build and grow this platform and the community around it. Without your support, it would be absolutely nothing. And for that, I'm genuinely grateful. On this platform, I am team community. I love to see people win, and many of the guests that have been on the show are people that I've personally worked with, supported, and tried to help in any way I could. I bring on voices from all walks of life, and my job isn't to certify that anyone is perfect. It's to give them space to tell their story. Time reveals all, and I know that because my own story has changed over the years. I trust the public to listen, think, and decide for themselves. And if you've got another side, my mic stays open. One more thing, if you ever notice that certain guests or businesses or organizations are receiving additional promotion or visibility on this platform, understand this. Those are formal sponsorships or partnership agreements with people or brands that we align with. That doesn't diminish anyone else's story or appearance here. It's simply how we keep this platform growing, sustainable, and independent. But let me be clear about one thing. Threats don't move me. My mission is simple: spark engagement, encourage participation, and shine a light on voices in this community. And I'm going to keep doing exactly that. So buckle up, because the conversations aren't slowing down, and I'm not backing off. And finally, thank you again for the support. If you're not already subscribed, I urge you to subscribe to the Beyond Business YouTube channel and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms, because together we're going to keep blowing up, showing up, and growing up. Be kind to each other. Now, let's touch on something that inevitably weaves through countless conversations. Accountability culture versus victim culture. And this is delicate but real. There's been a noticeable shift in how responsibility is perceived. Externalization of blame has become normalized. Circumstances, systems, environments, other people, all valid influence, but often overcredited. Personal agency, undercredited. And here's the uncomfortable truth is you can acknowledge obstacles without surrendering power. You can recognize disadvantages without adopting helplessness, because mindset doesn't erase reality, but it absolutely shapes response. And response shapes trajectory. Now, after 100 conversation, here's what becomes crystal clear. Winning is not mysterious. Winning is behavioral. It's decisions repeated daily. It's discomfort tolerated consistently. It's boredom embraced strategically. It's ego managed deliberately. It's responsibility accepted fully. It's adaptation pursued relentlessly. It's honesty applied ruthlessly. Not honesty about the world, honesty about yourself. Because the hardest lies to confront are the ones we tell ourselves. Now, what Beyond Business has really become for me is something far deeper than interviews. It became observation, pattern recognition, human study, perspective development. Because when you listen, truly listen, across enough lives, you realize something profound. Most struggles are not unique. Most barriers are not rare. Most limitations are not absolute. Most breakthroughs are not magical. They're behavioral shifts, identity shifts, decision shifts, and perhaps the most powerful realization of all, winning isn't complicated. It's uncomfortable, relentlessly uncomfortable. And most people are not defeated by difficulty. They're defeated by discomfort. Discomfort of discipline, discomfort of consistency, discomfort of uncertainty, discomfort of self-reflection, discomfort of responsibility, discomfort of growth. Because growth demands identity evolution. And identity evolution feels like psychological death to many people. But comfort demands absolutely nothing. Comfort asks you to stay exactly where you are, exactly who you are, exactly as you are. And for some people, that's enough. But for those who feel friction, restlessness, hunger, dissatisfaction, comfort becomes a cage. So where does Beyond Business Podcast go from here? Forward, of course. Bigger conversations, broader perspectives, deeper exploration, less noise, more substance, less performance, more truth. Because conversations still matter. Perspective still matters. Human behavior still matters. And if 100 conversations have taught me anything, it's this. The gap between where most people are and where they want to be is very rarely knowledge. It's execution. It's tolerance for discomfort. It's willingness to confront self-deception. It's courage to act imperfectly. Because perfection is procrastination's favorite disguise. And action, messy, imperfect, uncomfortable action, is still the ultimate separator. 100 episodes later, that truth hasn't changed. And it won't. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Beyond Business Podcast. If you haven't done so yet, I would encourage you to smash that subscribe button so you can be on board for the next 100 episodes to come. Also follow us on all your favorite social media platforms so you can keep seeing what we do and we can connect. Thank you. Be kind to each other.
Quick shout out to our partners, Dubby Energy, clean energy, no crash. Use code BeyondBiz at dubby.gg for 10% off. Oakwood Screen Printing, custom apparel done right from small runs to big orders. And Midwest Lightning Rods, protecting homes and businesses from lightning strikes across the Midwest. Now let's go.
Beyond Business. Yo, we on business. Yo, we out here hitting that grind. Podcast vibes letting loose, unwind. Nick's on the mic, yeah, he flexing with pride. Meeting dope souls, taking you on the ride. Talking about life, not just that paper. Doing it big, ain't no time for a hater. People yap behind his back, but we rise like the sun. Gather round, fam, we just having some fun. Beyond business, it's a vibe, feel that thrill, getting intimate. May even get your heart filled. Meeting the legends, those raw and real. Digging deep thoughts, show you how to feel. From the block to the boardroom, we making that move. Beyond business, baby, yeah, we got the groove. Shout out to the hustlers, the real street thugs. We all eat together, no need for the drugs. Yeah, you blessed with the gift, determined to thrive. Nick's breaking it down, keeping that fire alive. Let's go deep like the ocean, no bluff. Beyond business, baby, we can't get enough.